This is a storm evaporating. Looks like a tornado though. How far away are we from it?
All right, that was I need to get a fade going here. I don't know how to fix that actually. That was pretty abrupt actually, but anyways, that's okay. Just gonna have a nice casual discussion today about the. Sorry, I thought light wasn't on back there. About just this upcoming system this week because I think it's a big one, and one of the things we're gonna try to start doing a little bit more of on this channel. And on our social media profiles, you're either watching this on Facebook or YouTube, is talking about the upcoming weather setups because quite honestly, like I love writing about them, but it's just as easy to spend 30 minutes talking about them as well. And then we can do things like send them to our newsletter audience, which you're going to, if you are subscribed, you'll be getting this video, the archive version of it very soon. So we've got a huge, pretty strong system coming in this week, actually. This one that is impacting the Northeast today, etc. It's right here. It's moving off to the Northeast. Like it's really bringing all that in. This is the mid-level jet stream winds, 500 millibars. And as you go ahead in time here, you can actually see this next one coming in. It's just this dip in the jet stream right here. And as you go ahead, you can see this. You can see just the isobar starting to really deep in there, and it's this thing just kind of dives southeast and starts emerging out onto the plains. The center of the upper low is going to track somewhere about in Oklahoma. Depending on the track, it's a good question about where it actually ends up. It's a great question on that. But then it's going to shift east. You can see, look how powerful these winds are. These are 120, 130 miles per hour. In the mid-levels of the jet stream. That's why SPC is actually talking about strong tornadoes down in this area late for Monday, Tuesday as well. This is Tuesday morning, and this just strong jet just moves on out, and this thing just barrels up to the Northeast into the New England. So, and then you have another little system following on behind it, and then you have this other big system coming in also for late next week. Very active storm track, to put it mildly. I looked through some stuff this morning, and let's take a look at some of those things as well. So I'm also interested in just seeing how this looks with some of the updated models. So let's take a look here. This is the precipitation chart from the GFS. This is the GFS model. Oh, we've got a high from Australia. Let me see. How can I do that? Oh, right there. Nice to have you on. Thanks, Resnick. And as we go forward, you can see you start seeing snow from this incoming system start tomorrow morning up in northwest New Mexico, maybe a little bit on the central mountains, and it's just increasing through the day. And then snow really starts peaking after dark in New Mexico. You see these really strong bands. But what you're also seeing is you see this low developing on the lee side of the Rockies here. In eastern New Mexico, and just watch it just deepen from 1,000. It's 997, but it's deepening, and it just moves off, and you see it bottoms out there at 993 as it moves east, and it moves on off. We'll look at the east here in a second too. But what's going to happen, I think, is this is Monday at about noon out in Kansas, and you can see that, I mean, just perfect setup for snow wrapping around this, very saturated all the way up, and some very strong surface winds at the surface, northeast at 20 knots. And so what's going to happen is there's going to be a small area, probably, let me turn on something here. Let's see if I can use this. This is a great question. We're going to learn on the fly because this is how we get better. We're going to see if, come on. I know I have an annotator software somewhere. Come on. You can do it. Let's see. That's not it either. I'll find it. But basically, you're going to have blizzard conditions in this area. I'm going to try one more time. Let's see if I can figure this out. Annotate. No. I know it exists. You can't lie to me. You can't lie to me. I know it exists somewhere. I'm looking through my apps really quick. I know this is riveting talk about weather where I'm looking for an annotation app just to see if I have it. I know I have it. I just don't know where it's at. So I'll think about that for next time, I think. But anyways, so you can just see this low really deepens. It moves off to the east. And you can see how you just see the structure of the storm improve too. Actually can see the dry slot here happening south and east of it. That dry air is going to wrap around the low as well and really kind of limit snowfall totals to its northeast. But that snow is going to be pretty heavy. Depending on the track of the low. If it's this track right here, you're going to get southwest Kansas, northeast New Mexico, southeast Colorado, and then all the way across southern Kansas. Even possibly Wichita will get a pretty good dose of this. If you go down here to, let's take a look. This is just, we're looking at the plains. We'll look at the severe weather in a second. Let's see. Where we want to go with this? I don't know. There we go. Total snowfall depth change. So as you look through GFS, I mean, you can see it's just dumping here on the San Juans, 15, 18 inches on the peaks. And as it moves east, you can see these snowfall totals aren't huge. I mean, 5-6 inches, the GFS is throwing out, maybe a little bit stronger here where very few people live in southeast Colorado. But these are decent snowfall totals. They're enough that with blizzard conditions briefly, it's going to be almost impossible to travel because you'll just be dealing with a lot of problems. And then you see this band is pretty strong all the way through here. There's pretty sharp cutoff somewhere in southern Kansas. I don't want that to pop up. So, and then as you go forward in time too, you can just see as upcoming systems, it's being even more bullish with the next week's one, which is more south. So that's something to look forward to, right? But let's not worry about that one right now. So those snowfall totals are good enough to cause problems, but I mean, is it enough to be a major storm? I do have questions about that, to be sure. I do think it is a big system, though, as the banner there says. It's a big system. It's powerful, indeed. Let's see what the Euro says this morning. This is actually hot off the press for me. I haven't looked at it. So let's see here. Getting it through. And yeah, it's showing them pretty similar. A localized band here, maybe wrapped around that low. That might be 7 to 9 inches, something like that. But generally, the snowfall totals are somewhere in that 1 to 6 range, enough to cause problems. And then there's a pretty sharp cutoff again, somewhere in southern Kansas. So the Euro and the GFS have pretty similar stories they're telling, which is good that you have that kind of model agreement on the big models. And then let's take a look here. Let's take a look at the HRRR. We'll take a look at the 18Z. We're close enough to this now that you can start seeing some of these snowfall totals start being modeled all the way out to 48 hours. And you can see that, the HRRR is showing probably a little bit more of that enhanced around the low, to be sure. Let's take a look at the sounding there. Yeah, that's classic Colorado. That's a blizzard right there, 20, 30 knots with that heavy of snow. So you're going to get blizzard conditions. Oh my goodness, stop tapping that. So you're going to get blizzard conditions, southeast Colorado, southwest Kansas. I think that's almost like written in stone at this point, unless something really unexpected happens. And then let's take a look. I'm going to take a look at the 12Z Rufus this morning. This is the model that, of course, is going to replace the that's great. There's no data on that. This is going to replace the HRRR actually eventually, and all the other models really. They're trying to make this to replace everything. And as you go forward, you see this storm starting to emerge out. This is all breaking news to me too. I haven't seen this, but yeah, that looks pretty realistic. Where you have a sharp cutoff somewhere central southern Kansas, and then from there you can just kind of see some localized enhanced banding going on here, southeast Colorado foot, up here in Kansas, 6, 9, 10 inches. So I could see that. It's a little bit more bullish up here in northeast Kansas. That would be enough to cause problems for sure along I-70. Of course, I-70 runs through this area, so you can see that would be a big problem for I-70 travel for sure. Some Amazon packages may be late because of that, so to speak. But yeah, that looks pretty impressive overall. So I think what we're looking at, honestly, is a system that's going to definitely try to. It's just going to depend on the track, how much moisture is available, that sort of thing, and that'll be kind of the determinant of like where the snow happens, how much it is, all that. These are things that are very fine detail. I've talked about this before on the channel, and let's talk about it again very quickly. Let's take a look at the total QPF. This is total liquid water equivalent that's going to fall, okay? So if this was all falling as rain, this is how much it would be. And if you look, the totals are just like, look at this. I mean, it's 0.7, 1 inch, half an inch, but you're seeing those big snowfall totals, right? How many of you are like looking for a rainfall forecast and it's like 0.4 inches and you get 0.2 inches, or it's 0.8 inches and you get 0.4 inches? That's the difference between like 8 inches of snow and 2 inches of snow. Big difference, right? For snow, but for rain, it's not. So that's why like snowfall forecasts can be notoriously tricky, especially at this range, because of that, and because the amount of water needed to change that a specific snow total, it gets really tricky really fast, right? So it's easy to see how that can go very wrong for a forecaster. So I would say bet on some blizzard conditions, bet on some really tough travel, central northern Kansas, southeast Colorado, parts of the panhandles possibly, and definitely eastern New Mexico as well. And then as we look into Monday, let's look at the Rufus here. We're going to take a look at the convective evolution. You can see there's going to be a lot of storms going through Monday for sure. This is Monday into Monday afternoon, and you can see it's producing a lot of storms. Let's take a look at this, and let's just take a look at northern Texas really quick. See what that environment looks like, and you can see pretty cold at the surface, but some instability aloft. So lots of wind shear. You could get some storm organization, but with that cold air kind of locked in at the surface, not going to get a lot of severe weather with this in terms that you would otherwise kind of expect. Let's take a look at the temperatures. You can see just how it's just never really warms up on Monday because there's a lot of clouds working its way in throughout the day. And here you can see where those low clouds are going to just be like setting all day, where you just got 40s here. And right out here in the warm sector, let's try this, 53. That's not very warm. Yeah, you can see it's still very cold. So even where you might get some sun, it's just like that's not a lot of surface heating. And you can see where whenever you see this red line do this, kind of shunt back there to the right, that's a sign that you've got to know surface instability. You can see it's zero surface instability. Most unstable, 162. I mean, the photographs are impressive. I mean, the shear is impressive, 765 0 to 1 kilometer SRH, which basically means anything that could go surface based, which it won't happen, would be a menace. And then also worth noting on the backside of this system, for you folks on the plains, you can see here's where that low center is. What's it doing? Well, it's doing what every other system this time of year does. It's bringing down really cold air, 25, 28. So that air is coming in. It's going to entrench over this area, which may be why the system late next week might be a really big snow producer, especially if it takes that southern track. So let's take a look over here in the southeast. Let's just go on. Skip over there. Southeast US. So I need to go back over here to go back over to my reflectivity, taking a look at how long I've been live. I don't want to be on here for like hours, but I love talking weather and just going through the models. So again, this is just something I'm wanting to do more of because I just think that I do this anyway, so I might as well just talk and be goofy and all that while we're live. And you can see on Monday, lots and lots of storms forming here in the Gulf. Catch you a cruise ship and go storm chasing this week. Some good supercells too, but those are going to actually try to come ashore into Monday night. Let's see what the environment is here on the south side of that. Best we can. I mean, this is over the ocean, so it's also just going to be a little different, but that's pretty good. 228 0 to 1 kilometer SRH, very tropical looking sounding, but also some dry air aloft. So that's that could definitely aid in a little bit more destabilization. And so, I mean, this is really good shear. So the shear is there for something interesting, and then further north, just to take a look Monday night as well, because this is the first time I'm looking at severe weather stuff. Yeah, so you've got really cold temperatures aloft. So it's not, you're not going to get that big classic. This is going to be confined at least on Monday into Tuesday, probably here along the Gulf Coast. Let's take a look at the temperatures again. I guarantee you, yeah, that's exactly what's happening. So what's happening is that there is a definite warm front happening right here in the Gulf. You can kind of just see it. And then the temperatures north of that are cold, south of it 73. So those storms are forming on a warm front, and kind of everything's riding north with it. So southern Louisiana, southern Mississippi, southern Alabama, like the Gulf Coast region, could see some severe weather out of that. Let's take a look at the NAM really quick, just to kind of compare notes. And go in, yeah, and it's doing the similar thing. It's pretty decent heating. Even further north on the NAM, surface lows right here, and probably a little bit of a warm front there. So, but I don't know what I did. I keep pushing that. And then you go east, and you can see that you definitely get some heating, warming into Tuesday. And that looks interesting as you get to the East Coast. There's a pretty big severe weather. Oh my gosh, that's ridiculous. 533 0 to 1 kilometer. So it's just as if a storm is surface based, it's going to be spinning type of shear. Wow, that's impressive. It's very impressive. So, and this storm will then kick out, and by the end of the day on Tuesday, you have this cold front diving south through Florida. But let's take a look at what Florida. I mean, Florida, if there's storms, if you can get some destabilization here, you could get some tornado risk coming into Florida as well. There's actually a tornado risk today in Florida. But it's very standard for this time of year. Lots of shear, instability is the question. If you get destabilization, you're going to get severe weather and probably a tornado or two. I mean, it just seems pretty obvious to me. Let's see here. See our precipitation type and rate. Let's take a look at this for our folks on the, let's take a look at the Euro. Yeah, it just does that. It just forms a lot of storms. This will be atypical where the bulk of the threat's going to be overnight on Monday and probably into the morning on Tuesday. Forms a big line along that front. And that line would have the chance of tornadoes, that sort of thing. Any storms that can form out east of it as well would have a shot at tornadoes as well. Let's take a look. I should not be pulling soundings from the Atlantic. That's just silly. Let's bring this closer overland. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're just gonna have good wind shear. So I mean, that's very favorable wind shear, to be put it mildly. So yeah, you'll get severe weather. You're gonna get severe weather. There's probably a lot of wind damage reports possible. And then I think this stuff lifting out of the Gulf, it's also showing up on the Euro. It'll lift up and it's in good shear. And what will happen is you'll have a chance of tornadoes along the immediate Gulf Coast as that comes up. My gosh, that's ridiculous. 0 to 3 kilometer SRH of 1200. That's like good enough. I'm screenshotting that. That's ridiculous. That's in another world. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Look at that. That is Just give me a storm in that sometime. I don't know. They'd be moving really fast, but there'd be storms along through there, and of course there'd be severe weather. So let's take a look at the mid south. I'm interested to see what happens with this low as it really goes north. You can see up here in New England right now, just getting dumped on right now. We'll take a look at radar here in a second too. I just want to take a look. I haven't looked at radar, so I don't know what's going on in Florida, New England, etc. So we're going to find out together. Might as well since I'm already here. And so this system, you can see it's pulling north right now, deepening as it goes north. Low gets down to 987. So probably still getting blizzard conditions here in Missouri and to Illinois. It's going to be pretty significant. Yeah. Yeah, I know, Freddie. I saw that. I was just like, my gosh, I cannot believe that sheer. I kind of want to go south too. I'm not going to, but that made me want to jump in a car. But I think it'll be messy for storm chasing. It'll be one of those messy setups, and after dark too, which is just messy after dark south. All those things. I'm gonna save my money, but that's impressive. It's gonna be something I probably might stay up late watching. Yeah, that's interesting right there. I'm looking at soundings just for snow potential here across Illinois. Yeah, very saturated, quite a ways up. So could even get some convecting going on there. And then this lifts up north, and yeah, it's going to be some pretty good snowfall totals there. Let's take a look. This thing might be this thing's probably going to dump a lot of snow all the way through. Let's take a look. Yeah, that's impressive. I kind of figured that would be the case. Very impressive snow totals here. And of course, if you get these kind of snow totals, especially down in here, even into St. Louis, my gosh, I mean, I better scroll this down here into St. Louis and such. It's nuts. It's big. It's a big deal right there. Yeah, and then of course through here, let's take a look at. I'm gonna pull up radar really quick. Stop the screen. 1 second, folks, as I present, and then the share screen. Got to switch to a new window. There we go. Cool. All right. First off, let's go down here to Florida. This is where the severe weather threat is today. Yeah, there's a line of storms that push through. So that's basically ending. Then these storms are pushing through, and yeah, it just looks like. I mean, there's going to be a chance down here in the Miami area, but I mean, you're getting to the very end. I'm going to the Everglades in March, so I hope. I don't know. Maybe I am hoping this happens in March. I should do some storm chasing in Florida, but I actually want to see some crocodiles, birds, etc. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But yeah, this one up here, moving into the north part of Fort Lauderdale. Look at that! Oh my goodness, that's suspicious. Let's pull this up really quick. I don't really want to do a severe weather nowcast, but I'm actually very curious about this now. Oh my god, yeah, that might be tornado time. No, very impressive on velocity, but it's right there by radar. It's got a look of it though. It has a seahorse look to it. I'm not seeing much of a. Oh come on, radar Omega. I mean that's pretty impressive though. Nice little hook on it right there in Florida. So. I gotta give Freddie a shout out for earlier. Great comment. I laughed. So yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. That's it could be a brief tornado about to happen as it moves into the Miami metro. So Miami is a place that gets a lot of tornadoes. It's not thought of. People don't think about tornadoes when they think about Miami, but it really is a place where you get a bunch of tornadoes. Let's make this one screen so you don't feel like you're seeing double. So that's pretty cool. So let's go up here to, I'm actually curious about how the snow is happening, how snowfall's progressing up here. Oh, yeah. When the whole radar is just showing precipitation. Yeah, let's do this, radar MRMS, so we can get a better big picture view of this storm. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. That is a lot of snow happening right now all across New England. And this is just going to ride up. This is going to dump a lot of snow. Let's over here. Come on, WC. That's a big system happening right now up there. I'm curious Looking at my stream picture, I need to be looking at my monitor down here. My goodness. Being a joker right now. Let's take a look at, winter storm warning. Yeah, you can see there's still pretty warm through here, getting some pretty good rain. It's got to be rain washed in up to Baltimore, but that's cool. Let's go back over here to come here. Present, stop screen. Let's go over here now back to Safari. Let's take a look at the WPC. I love using the WPC for a lot of things. If you are a weather watcher, this is one of the National Weather Service offices that really, I think, does not get the due it deserves. These folks are just incredible at what they do. And here's our forecast chart. Got that low we just looked at with snow that's just riding up the coast. Got this front diving in, and then of course the front that formed all the storms was diving south. And then you can see what's happening as you get into Monday, right? Severe weather possible down here, rain, snow possible, especially blizzard, heavy snow possible up here in Kansas. So that's just, I love their forecast. And you can see as you move off day 3, this is on Monday, you can see where they're expecting the snow happening on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday through here. And if you look, you can see where the expectation is that this upcoming storm's really going to dump. You can see how it just kind of escalates all the way into day 5. So lots and lots of precipitation is going to fall in the eastern half of the country. And then, of course, you have a second system that comes through and just drops a lot more precip as well. So it's going to happen. This is, I feel like this is our first, this one that just came through. And now this is our first big winter weather sequence of the winter. So here's our chances of greater than 4 inches of snow from the WPC. You can see they just they highlight same areas models are right now. Southeast Colorado, Kansas, then up here in Nebraska. And then you go day 3, of course, and then just kind of lifts it up north out of there. Let's see what they say about, they're even giving it a non-zero chance of a foot in this area, or of 8 inches. And then, of course, just pretty solid there. And then snowfall, I'm actually curious. But they're not really, yeah, that makes sense. And then freezing rain. Ooh, day 4. Look at this. Freezing rain greater than 25 quarter inch right there. So here's the winter storm severity index. This is also another thing that I really think is just like, again, these folks just knocked it out of the park. This is for the 24-hour period. And you can see up here, of course, major impacts up here in the Northeast, Nashua, everywhere up northwest of Boston, just New England, just really going to be cranking. And then you move on, and let's go back down here, and we'll start seeing what they are calling for. Calling for some pretty major impacts here across Northeast New Mexico and into Kansas. Oh, come on, you got to load. And then, of course, here's where the blizzard starts, and you can see exactly what we were talking about. I-70 probably going to have some challenges, and then, of course, just almost difficult to impossible travel for at least a short time. Places like Garden City, maybe even Dodge City, Liberal, Guyman, Clayton, New Mexico. So I know a lot of truck traffic oftentimes goes from Amarillo up through Clayton and hits I-25 over here at Raton and goes north. That happens a lot. So that's going to be a pretty rough go for those folks if you're wanting to take that shortcut over the coming days. And then as you move in, you can see that the impacts of this storm move off to the northeast. And so basically, yeah, this is going to be an impressive storm. It's going to dump a lot of snow starting back here in New Mexico, and it's going to go all the way up through into the Chicagoland area. It's going to be a big deal. So I don't know. I mean, I really do. I think this is yet another big winter storm coming in, and I think it's going to be yet another big deal. It's going to cause a lot of problems with travel. And yeah, I would say if you live from like Northeast New Mexico and draw a cone that kind of expands all the way up to Illinois, you just kind of expect this next system to really be the one that brings you a lot of impacts. That includes like central northern Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, northern Missouri, Illinois. And you can see this is the Euro's depiction of this system as it moves on. Very similar to GFS. Oh my goodness. I need to quit tapping stuff, right? Very similar to GFS and how it evolves that. What I'm curious about, what we're about to look at for the last thing we're going to look at, let's take a look at this. What does it do with this thing? I don't know. We're going to see. The GFS dives as deep south into Texas and produces a major winter storm that goes even further south than this last one, like south of I-40. Let's see what it does. It's pretty north, but then, yeah, it's pretty south. It brings it pretty south. So it could be this could be a pretty banner winter weather string of setups here. This could be a real winter for us here in the southern one half of the country. As you can see, yeah, I mean, you bring snow all the way down. I kind of figured that was what was happening with the Euro, but it's bringing snow all the way down to I-40 by the end of next week and into next weekend. So you're going to actually get snow a lot further south. So look how much snow is covering the country compared to like Christmas, where it was like the exact opposite. There was like no snow anywhere. Now suddenly heading into January, getting that cold weather coming in for sure. Let's take a look. Oh my gosh. Now I'm just curious. This is what happens when I start looking at models. But you can see I'm a weather geek, of course, but you can see this cold air that just starts diving south on the ensembles. Look at it. Oh my gosh. 50 below normal. That's 50 below your normal temperature up there in Montana. That's well below zero at that point. You're well below zero. True Arctic air, 30 degrees below normal, as far south as Oklahoma into late next week. And look how long it just entrenches. It just sets there through. I mean, when you're talking normal highs for this time of year in the central southern plains, 50s, 40s, that sort of thing. So when you're talking 20 and 30, you're talking teens and 20s for highs. And we're talking about that for upwards of a week, it looks like, before you start getting a warm-up pattern kind of coming back in. So, yeah, and there is an active storm track. Let's take a look at that, too. These are things where you quit getting into specifics and you just look at the broad picture and you can kind of discern someone's getting snow somewhere. Well, I mean, there's that system, and then look what happens afterwards. Look at how when you see blue on this map, this is the height anomalies for the jet stream. You can bet there's unsettled weather happening, and then finally you start getting some positive height anomalies happening. But once again, coming out here in the west, this is going to be an El Nino winter. And it looks like we're starting. We started this week, and we're probably going to have a whole month at least of just very active storm tracks across the southern U.S., which really good because we've got a little bit of drought to get rid of before we get to spring. I'm working on my seasonal outlook right now for the upcoming tornado season. But look at this. We do have a little bit of drought to get rid of here still. Across southern Oklahoma and also back here in New Mexico, Colorado, and Kansas. There's some drought to be gotten rid of. Get enough of those storm tracks coming through here and dumping rain and snow. You can get rid of that. And same here, like these places that we talked about where these systems are going to dump a lot of rain, they're also in drought right now. So it'll be very helpful for them. So this active storm track is going to be good for a lot of people. Hopefully they're not too, we don't get big tornado outbreaks with these, so we can kind of get people the rain they need, and we can hold things off until storms can happen on the open plains where we can watch tornadoes hit nothing at all, which is my preference. But yeah, you can see CPC is just calling for we're heading into a cold pattern. So I think the last things I want to say is there's two things. If you're still watching this, like us on social media. Here's the Tornado Titans page. We talk this stuff all day long. There are several posts a day on our Facebook page, especially. But if you aren't on Facebook, you're not really if you're not on Facebook, but you're watching this on Facebook, right? But if you're on YouTube and you're not on Facebook, you can do a couple of things. First off, go to tornadotitans.com. You're going to be asked to subscribe to our newsletter. You should do that. But also All the stuff we post on social media is also going on our website. So we talk about all these things on our website. You can hit up our website frequently and really and you can do all the kinds of other stuff too, like learn about storms that tighten you. Look at this. There's so many courses we have available for you to take a look at, look through, etc. Really excited about everything we have going on. So be sure to like, subscribe, do all those things. We're excited about the new year and what we're doing. This is going to be part of it. Me sitting here like a doofus talking weather and models as a few times a week, possibly. So as long as we keep an active storm track, I'll keep doing this. Okay, that's still on. That light's still on. I was curious for a second whether it was still on. So with that said, thanks for watching. Be sure to do that like and subscribe thing, and excited to see where we go this year. We'll see you next time.